President Biden traveled to Israel. Israel approved the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza from Egypt, a country that shares a land border with Gaza. It's become easy for some world leaders in the Middle East and elsewhere, as well as some members of the media, to point the finger at Israel for not allowing civilians from Gaza to get out or get humanitarian aid in. But Arab countries like Egypt and Jordan, which borders the West Bank, don't want the Palestinians coming into their countries either. So why aren't fingers being pointed at them? It was Israel who dropped flyers warning civilians to evacuate. It was Hamas who told people to ignore the evacuation order. And they seemingly blocked civilians from leaving, according to the IDF. Well, that's in debate. But Jordan announced this week that they're going to take in no refugees. Egypt has long prevented residents of Gaza from coming into Egypt. Geraldo Rivera, why is it just Israel that has to deal with a civilian and humanitarian crisis? Well,
specifically on the issue of Palestinians, my wife says to me, Israel is the safe haven for the Jews. It is the place where we can hide from the atrocities of the Hitlerian instinct that has surfaced throughout history. And why can't the Palestinians go to one of these other Arab countries? They're everywhere. There's no Arab country on earth that will take Palestinians, none. I was in Lebanon for all that fighting in the south. One of the root causes of it are the big Palestinian refugee camps in Beirut. In Jordan, how destabilizing it has been for Jordan to have the Palestinians there, restive population, stateless people. And you have no dangerous, destabilizing. They're not going to take any Palestinians. It's not going to be the solution. And I submit that if indeed there is a relief of American citizens there, they're going to vet them 16 ways to Sunday before they let them on the bus to drive through Sinai to get to an airport to come someplace.
Yeah. It just seems like, Judy, one of these issues that, again, doesn't get talked about, right? It's always Israel, Israel, Israel. Right. Israel won't let humanitarian aid. Israel. Egypt could do any of this.
Well, Hamas, how much money were they given? And they decided not to build infrastructure, not to build schools, not to get clean water, none of this. They built tunnels and missiles to hit Israel. And I don't want any, as Sean was saying, it is about humanitarian people, but come on. There's the reason that Israel has these safe spaces or these shelters is because they built them and prepared them, their citizens, for something like this. Hamas has not done anything to help the Palestinian
people. It's worse than that.
People.
It's worse than that. It's that the effort to protect civilians is bad for Hamas.
Right.
It's bad.
They use them as human shields.
But they need them. They need them there because if there are no people there, if there are no civilians there, Israel's going to be able to go in, figure out where the tunnels are.
Right.
They're going to, I mean, it's bad for business for Hamas.
There's a foreign policy question here as well. President Biden was supposed to have met with all of those heads of state, Abbas, the head of Jordan, the head
They
of
all canceled after the hospital.
Yeah. But that's why I think we're missing this part of the discussion, which is you can't just talk to Israel and tell them, hey, here's what we need you to do without talking to the heads of. We're missing that part of the discussion. That is one thing, again, that the media is not talking about.
Yeah.
The consequences of that failure. Where's U.S. policy right now? Where's U.S. leadership that says you don't get to cancel on the United States of America? That, to me, was such a sign of weakness.
But what is he going to do if they say that, we're not going to meet with you? What do you want him to do?
Do you know how much money we're spreading around the globe? How much, and suddenly
you think we have that kind of weight with Jordan?
No, we used to.
With Jordan?
Yes, pick one.
I disagree. I think that President Biden took his eye off the Mideast, and I think that is unfortunate.
You had Jake Sullivan a week ago saying it was the best it's ever been. In the weeks and months leading up to it, and the National Security Advisor saying it hasn't been this quiet in years. It was this quiet because they were arming themselves and ready to commit the rape and pillage of our time.
Well, maybe if Netanyahu wasn't trying to dismantle the Supreme Court, he would have been
Hold this for 1
attention.
second, because I want to ask the question coming up. How has President Biden done in his response to Hamas? Too much? Too little? The latest polling may surprise you, by the way. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.